whatever way you use to represent age, again, table stakes should be showing elapsed time.
And I kind of feel like, because I think we have to. I think it's the rule on Drunk Agile that we have to mention Little's Law at least once. Welcome everyone to another edition of Drunk Agile. With me, as always, is
Big thing.
Prateek. My name is Daniel Vacanti. Thank you for joining us, Prateek. What are you drinking?
Elijah Craig, Bell proof, 119 proof, as we were just talking about. It's a little grassier than its previous
Yeah.
edition. Yeah.
Which is no reflection on the person who got it for you, by the way. That must have been a really great guy who got you that whiskey. I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
So as longtime listeners have or watchers have heard me lament, my stocks are dwindling quite a bit. So I'm back to Armagnac tonight. And I think we've established a precedent of anything that's distilled
Distilled
can be on the
brown
show,
liquor.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers everyone. Thanks for joining. For tonight, another viewer request. As always, we really do appreciate when all of you out there let us know what you want to hear about. Tonight's topic is going to be the the right and wrong, or maybe we should say the good and bad ways of tracking aging or visualizing aging or doing aging, whatever. Right. So, Prateek, start us off. It's a great question.
Yeah. The exact question comes from Alicia. Could we please get a drunk agile episode on different approaches, ways to or not to visualize aging? Um,
I interpreted that to mean good or bad. So just
yeah.
because there's no everything boils down to good versus evil, right? Especially in Agile.
uh,
By the
no,
way, did you edit that
I
episode that
did.
you? Okay. Bring
Well,
on the
I
hate
did.
mail. Okay.
Yeah, no, I did. I added the
I,
stuff.
I thought so. I'm like, wait a second. Prateek screwed up. Well, actually, no, he
No.
didn't.
So anyone who wants to know, it's the previous episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first, before we get into ways to do this, let's first define aging, what aging is, because without doing that, anything could be considered good or bad. Um, Work item age is essentially how much time has passed, elapsed time, since we pulled this item into our process. So the item's been pulled into our process, it hasn't exited our process yet. How long has it been since that item was pulled in? So if I pulled in an item 3 days ago, it's aged 3 days. If I pulled it in 5 days ago, it's aged 5 days, irrespective of where it is in our process. As long as it's entered our process but not exited our process, this thing is aging, and how long it has been in our process is that work item's age.
Yeah. So this refers back. I'm sure all of you remember this, but we did an episode on the basic metrics of flow way back when. Probably one of our very first ones, I think that we did. Um, and all of you will recall, because we've only said it like 16,000 times, that all of these metrics are functions of how you define start and finished. And so when Pratik talks about pulling something in, he's talking about, the point at which an item crosses your well-defined start point. So I think that's number one. We talk about different approaches to aging is if you don't have that well-defined start point, then you don't have aging. So the very first thing that you need to do with your team is sit down and decide, okay, what does it mean for something to have started? It seems like a trivial conversation, but most teams that we go into, when we ask them that question, you ask a team of 10 people, you'll probably get 10 different answers of when something has started. So, okay, that's point number one. Yes. And then once it's crossed that start point, how long has it been in terms of elapsed time? How long has it been since it started? Okay, so that's like okay, table stakes. Yeah, okay.
So I think the next thing to key in on is the term you just used, elapsed time. So any the first way to say good or bad is this way of representing age counting elapsed time or something else? If something is and by elapsed time we essentially mean if you're measuring in days, calendar days. If you're measuring in weeks, calendar weeks. If you're measuring in hours, hours by the clock. How much time has elapsed? If your way of visualizing age is doing, active time or work days or work hours, that is by default a bad way of representing age. Whatever way you use to represent age, again, table stakes should be showing elapsed time.
And I kind of feel like, because, I mean, because I think we have to, I think it's the rule on Drunk Agile that we have to mention Little's Law at least once, right? And
Take
I
a
think
drink.
take a drink, yeah. I think this is, I think we should spend a little bit of time on this. The point that Prateek just made, one of the reasons, maybe probably the biggest reason that's important when while we talk about elapsed time, representing this as elapsed time. It goes back to Little's Law. Most people's representation of Little's Law is, is three metrics, and it's usually the wrong three metrics. Don't get me started on that. But hidden behind the scenes, depending on what form of Little's Law you're talking about, hidden behind the scenes, Little explicitly talks about a fourth metric, which is aging. And in that he talks about aging as elapsed time. All of those other metrics are measured in terms of elapsed time. So this fourth most important metric also has to be in terms of a elapsed time. So not only is it, Little saying this, but trust me, your customers are saying this too. Your customers think about the world in terms of elapsed time. So, so by all means, yeah, yes, 100% yes. Always. You should never say never say never, never say always, but always elapsed time.
Yeah. So for example, if you have a system which shows you pulled something in on a Friday, today is Monday, that system should show that this thing has aged Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Today is Monday. It should show that. It shouldn't show that, oh, it's only been a day because we pulled it
Yep.
in Friday. So whatever system you're using, even if you are physically ticking cards, it should be four ticks on that card, not just one or two ticks on that card.
Yep. Which kind of brings us, I don't know, should we transition to like yet another way to not do
Yeah, let's go.
aging
Let's go. Yeah.
aging problem? Okay. So even if you get elapsed time right, which is if you are getting elapsed time right, kudos to you. Another thing you have to be careful of is most people think that it's only important to understand the age of an item in a given column, right? Even though we're talking about elapsed time, they want to know, well, how long has it spent in this column? Now, that may or may not be useful information, but from an overall predictability perspective, from a, hey, are we going to take action on this thing? Generally speaking, we're talking about aging from that start point. So let's say you have, I don't know, 5 columns in your process.
Mhm.
I don't want to get into names or anything like that, but we might have to. But let's say we've got 5 states in our process, and this item is in the third state or whatever. Well, like I said, while it might be of some passing interest how long it's been in that third state, what we really care about is how long it's been in the overall system. The reason I bring that up is because those of you using Jira and the default way that Jira tracks aging out of the box, it is only, this is my understanding, and somebody let me know because I haven't actually, honestly, I haven't looked at how Jira does this in a while. Um, but my understanding is Jira is only tracking, you can show dots on
Mhm.
tickets, but it's only showing you the time in that particular column. Do you even know, is that even a lapse time though, now that I think about it?
I think it is elapsed time. As
Okay.
far as I remember, it is elapsed time. Because again, I am thinking like 3 years back. So
Yeah,
Things could have
yeah, I
changed.
was gonna say it's been a while. So, you know, you might if you're using Jira's visualization, you might look at a card and it's only got two dots on it. You're like, okay, hey, great, wow, we're doing wonderful. Never mind that it's been in your process for 168 days, and 166 of those were in the previous column. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's a it's a signal for the wrong thing. The signal you want to gain from looking at aging is, has this taken too long? Has our customer been waiting for this way too long? Is this something to be that we need to take an action on? What Jira is telling you, has this spent too long in this column? Which is a completely different question, which is a question about, are the people working in this column, or is the team doing a good job in this column? Which might not even be a problem with the people working in that column. It might be a completely different episode. But it's answering the wrong question. As Dan's example goes, 168 days, but only 2 days in this column. Is that a good thing? Well, only 2 days in the column might be a good thing from the process perspective, from that column's perspective, but from customer's perspective, I've been waiting for this for 168 days. Hopefully, you're taking some action on this.
yeah, and I mean, and this is where you get into trouble there because Prateek asked the question, is this a good thing? The actual question you should be asking is this not a bad thing, right?
This
That's the real
yeah.
question you should be asking. Now,
Mhm.
I'm not saying
No,
you, Pratik. I'm saying,
no, no, fair. Yeah,
everybody else, because on the face of it, it might look, hey, 2 days, everything's great. If that's all you saw, but in as Pratik was saying, in the context of the overall system, that's bad. Now, again, it's not here to assign blame. It's not necessarily the fault of the people that are working on it right now. And there's no point in beating them up about that. This is again another episode, right? This now becomes a team problem
yeah.
that we all have to get behind and solve for. And so, yeah, that's that. I think I just kind of made that up on the fly. That's the real problem of I think of just looking at individual columns is it's not probably going to prompt you to ask the right question. And you kind of even further than that, I think what you're saying, Pratik, is it's going to give you the wrong signal or not even give you a signal at all, right?
Yeah. It won't tell you should we take action on this. Won't
Yep.
give it. It's likely to give you the wrong answer to
Hmm.
should we
Hmm.
take action on this. So those are just very basic. Jesus is just wrong
Yeah.
kind of things. On the positive side, on the good side, again, any visualization that gives you an idea of total age, of total work item age from your start point, as Dan mentioned earlier. Um, with I remember people talking about banana peels and
Hmm.
banana peels rotting on
The grati
cards.
banana. Yep.
Yeah, that is, if you can read banana peels or tea leaves or whatever, that is fair because it starts from the point something comes in.
That's true because bananas don't not rot over the weekend, right? It's
Yeah,
like, yeah. Oh
exactly.
wait, sorry. It's a
So
Saturday. Bacteria take Saturdays off, right? Oxygen takes Saturdays off. Yeah.
I mean, the only problem I have is just it's a little subjective. Some banana peels
Yeah.
might rot, but yeah, at least it's cumulative.
Yeah.
Um, I remember this. I think this is from Colleen writing the start date at the beginning of the ticket when you pull it in, so that starts giving you an idea of how long this thing has been around.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can literally sort everything that's active by that. If you're in a system that doesn't give you a natural visualization of it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you're in somewhere like Jira that doesn't do some of the things that we've been talking about so far, that is a workaround where you can actually just write the date that you pulled it in right there on the ticket.
On the ticket itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
What else?
I would so I think another thing to do. I mean, this is my personal preference. Um, Data have no meaning apart from their context, and so kind of getting back to this, we need to understand overall age. Um, Even understanding overall age isn't enough because what we really care about is how much age is too much
Too
age.
much age. Yeah.
Age in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, things have to age in order for you to get them done. They have to age. What we really care about is how much age is too much age. Yeah, like
Like
whiskey.
music.
Yeah, for sure. And so having some additional context, like the percentile lines off your scatter plot, an SLE if you're properly managing flow and you've defined a service level expectation for your process, having that additional contextual information so that you can constantly be comparing the current age of items against how we've completed stuff in the past so we can make that determination of how much age is too much age because that's ultimately what you care about. It's not that this thing is aging, it's has it aged too
Too
much. So
much.
for me that's another thing that you should be doing with aging is making sure you have that additional contextual information to make that determination.
So couple other things, as long as you don't take these too far. I've seen at least one team that would tick their cards, but then if the card was blocked, they would use a red pen to tick it.
Hmm.
If it was not blocked, they'll use a blue pen. So kind of it all counted towards age. It was all total age, but they had an idea of, oh, this thing was blocked for 5 days. Was there something we should have done about it earlier? Like is as Dan said, if this is crossing some of those percentiles, we usually get things done in 8 days. This is a 7 days and still blocked. It's probably telling us something. Um,
Yeah.
you can also mine that data from Jira.
One thing you just made me think of, I don't know if we should go there or maybe this should be its own episode. But maybe we've done an episode about this. Total work item age. Should we talk a little bit about total work item age?
The total work item age.
Total work, yes.
I don't think we've talked about it.
Um,
Maybe I don't know. But yeah,
well, yeah. So maybe we'll tell you what, we're going to do our homework and see if we have done total work item age on Drunk Agile or
total
not.
work item
Yeah,
age.
total. Yeah, you have to say it that way. And we'll come back to you. But the thing I do want to say is, as a caveat, um, it was kind of if I can say it this way, correct me if I'm wrong. It was kind of a thought experiment that Prateek came up with in terms of, a better way to measure investment. This
Mhm.
idea of total work item age, and I know that some people have played around with it, but I don't. This is not something I don't think that has been actually like proven in the marketplace or certainly not experimentally verified or
Yeah,
anything like this is just an idea I think that you had. I think it's a good idea, but I think it still remains to be seen whether that's a provable way to
yeah.
manage age.
I mean, a couple people played with it, and I think they all end up coupling it with like kind of whip controls.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't think it's played out by enough people for us to have enough power behind this experiment.
So we're purposely being kind of vague and cryptic here. So like I said, we'll go do our homework. Maybe we have talked about because remember we're drinking when we do these episodes, folks.
I mean,
So I can't remember what we've talked about, what we haven't talked about. And we'll come back to you if you've never heard of the term total work item age before, don't worry about it because if we haven't talked about it, we'll come back and do an episode just on that for you. Um,
what
should we
else?
talk?
Any other
Uh,
good, bad,
I kind of
ugly?
I kind of want to talk about the pace percentiles and actionable agile, but I kind of don't. I don't know. Um, those of you who've seen pace percentiles and actionable agile, I would just say you use those with caution. If you are an actionable agile user, there's some great documentation on the 55 degrees website about those pace percentiles. Again, there's one of those things that can be extremely helpful if you know what you're talking about, but kind of taken in a vacuum. And unfortunately, I think most people kind of interpret this stuff in a vacuum. It can be a little bit dangerous, and that's why we are erring and we focus so much on this episode. We err on the side of just look at the total amount of elapsed time, through the whole process. I mean, those are the big ones I could think of. Is there
Yeah,
anything else?
I can't think of. I'm sure there are actually. You all tell us what are some bad ways you have seen people track aging, or some good ways, some innovative ways that we might not have come across. Um, I'm sure there are many. I'm sure there are a bunch out there.
Okay, I got to have my weekly dig at Scrum. But a, a probably not good way if any of you are doing this, if you get to the end of your sprint, and you've got an item in progress and it's not finished and you move it back to the backlog and you're like, hey, let's reset the clock on this thing. I would argue that's an aging anti-pattern as well. I don't know why you made me just think of that, but I just thought of that as well. Remember, those time box boundaries are arbitrary. Um, you might be able to think you might think that you're fooling your system, but I promise you, your system is not fooled. Um, that was another one I
I
just
didn't
thought
even
of.
know that was a thing. I like till probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I think we were talking, and you told me that's a thing.
It's
To move.
actually, I'm. It
It's
was in
the
the previous.
yeah, technical implementation of
It was a
like
previous version of the Scrum Guide specifically said that. I don't know if all of
yeah.
you tell me the current version of the Scrum Guide does or not, but it actually says that anything that's not done by the end of the sprint has to be moved back to the product backlog to get reprioritized. And because you
Yeah,
don't know
you
if you're
told
gonna.
me, and as usual, I didn't believe you. I had to read it for myself. It's like, this doesn't make sense. No, this cannot be.
Yeah, yeah,
It was. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Now, again, a team can choose to leave it there, but if you go canonical Scrum, you
well, which is an interesting thing with age itself. I mean, that is one way to technically reset age. And again, because you are resetting age, because you are making a major change to your process, not change to your process, but a major alteration to your metrics, that should be reserved for extreme cases. It should be things like got blocked on this thing, and we know this is going to be blocked for 6 months. We usually get things done in 8 days or less. It's going to be blocked for 6 months. Let's just throw this out. If it's still important, we'll pull it in.
yeah.
Or you're just working on this thing, and the customer says, "I'm like, that thing you're working on, nah, don't worry about it. Not going to use it. All right, fine. Let's throw this thing out. Let's cancel it or throw it to the backlog when some other customer wants it. We'll do it." Those are legitimate, rare cases of doing this. Um, a process dictated or framework dictated mm, case is much harder to argue.
Dubious at best. This episode's a perfect example of how all of we don't rehearse any of this stuff. We don't talk about any of these things before. But based on what you just said, let's take a less extreme example. Not even necessarily moving it back to the backlog, but just moving it backwards. Say, one step in your workflow or two steps in your workflow. Yeah, this is. I think that's yet another great argument for you know, talking about total elapsed time. Because if we remove it, even say back one column, what happens to the age that wasn't accumulated while it was in that column? If you're only tracking age per column, what would you do with that? That becomes, a bit of an accounting nightmare. Yeah, kind of yes, kind of no. But yeah,
Curious what Jira does with that.
yeah, it's a great question. Because especially what
Even
happens if it bounces back like 15 times?
or even if like it was in what validation for 5 days, went back to creation, and
Yeah.
then came back to validation a day later, how many dots does this show? Does it just show
Yeah.
one dot because it came back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, that's not a problem you have. If you're looking at total elapsed time, you don't have that problem. That problem goes away. So now I don't know. Now have we finished?
I think we're
now,
finished. Yes.
now did we?
I mean,
Okay.
we got the usual Scrum dig in, so
Yeah. I feel like we should be saying something bad about safe too, though, while we're here,
Hey,
but
that's
yeah.
another episode. That's a whole another episode.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I thought, does Safe do that at the end of a PI?
That I have no idea.
Execute is not finished.
I have no idea. I'm not a safe guy. I don't know. Go. Somebody tell us what if you get to the end of a PI and you've still got stuff in progress. What does safe say you're supposed to do with it? You know what? Our comments are probably going to explode with answers to that question and nothing about aging, right? They're going to be, these dogma debates about what the right, what does safe actually say? What does Scrum actually say? When it doesn't matter if you just pay attention to total age. I kind of feel like that was the last word, but I was going to give you the last word, Prateek.
I just want to say thanks, Alicia, for sending us the question, and hopefully we, in this meandering episode, answered it to some extent.
But I want to reiterate what Prateek said before. What do you think? What have you seen work? What has not worked? Did we answer your question? Let us know. We promise we will at least read your comments. I don't know. I don't know if we can promise we'll do anything more than that, but we definitely take everything that you say seriously. So with that, I want to say thanks so much for Prateek for joining us tonight for this kind of shorter episode, which is good. I think shorter is good. My name is Daniel Vacanti. Thanks everyone again for watching, and we will see you in the next episode. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
If you like this content, all of you know how YouTube works. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We'd love to get your feedback and love to put more quality content out for you. Prateek, what else can they do?
Use the links in the description to reach out to us. You can find us on LinkedIn. See if there's a way we can work together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to see you. Thanks everybody for watching, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.